My employer owed me $192 in unpaid overtime. They told me why. I sweetly pretended to accept their explanation. A few years ago, I worked at a long-established, family-owned art supply store. It had been around for decades, known in the local art scene, and was staffed by a small team of incredibly knowledgeable and helpful people. Most of us were artists ourselves, passionate about the job. Unfortunately, that passion was being taken advantage of. We were underpaid. Our checks came every 2 weeks, and the management had a little trick. If you worked 48 hours in week 1, they'd cut your hours to 32 or fewer in week 2. That way, across the 2-week pay period, you'd never cross the 80-hour mark, so they avoided paying overtime. They averaged the time instead of paying by the week, which is how the law requires overtime to be calculated. It was shady, but the worst part? No one ever challenged it. We were told not to discuss pay, which kept everyone quiet. When I finally did the math and realized they owed me $192 in unpaid overtime, I brought it up to the office manager, expecting they'd fix it. Instead, she gave me a slow, smug lecture about how pay periods work. She explained that my time was averaged, that I didn't understand how it worked, and basically talked to me like I was a child. I smiled, nodded, and thanked her for the explanation. Then I walked out of the office and made a phone call. First stop, the U.S. Department of Labor. I asked questions, got some answers, then named the store. While I was at it, I found a law firm that specialized in wage theft and overtime violations. They were happy to help. Then I told one of my closest coworkers. Together, we started contacting as many former and current employees as we could. A few were skeptical, but most weren't surprised. Some were angry. All were interested. Meanwhile, at work, nothing changed. I smiled, stocked shelves, and did my job like always. Management had no clue. Then one day, an auditor from the Department of Labor showed up. Quiet, no fanfare, just walked into the back office. The next day, he came back. This time, the owner showed up too. First time I'd seen him in years. He came in looking confident and left looking like he'd seen a ghost. Shortly after, it all unraveled. The store was forced to pay back wages and interest to every employee they'd shorted, current and former. They even had to publish a notice in the local paper admitting to wage violations. I imagine that was a brutal hit to their pride. There was also a significant fine, and I heard 2 longtime employees ended up suing, not just the business, but the owner and the office manager personally. I don't know how that ended because by then I'd left for grad school, but the best part, all of it could have been avoided. If that office manager had just said, "Oops, let me fix that," and paid me my $192, none of this would have happened. Instead, they lost what I heard was around $50,000 in back pay, fines, and legal costs. Turns out all that smugness cost them dearly. I never raised my voice, never made a scene. I just smiled and let the law do the talking.